Wolf of the Battlefield, otherwise known as Commando in the United States, came out as an arcade game in 1985. You were a soldier named Super Joe that went level to level killing waves of soldiers with a machine gun and hand grenades. Commando was ported to pretty much every home computer system and console that was out at the time. In 1987, the arcade game Top Secret, otherwise known as Bionic Commando in the United States, was released and advertised by Nintendo in arcade flyers that the main character was Super Joe, but in the game itself the main character is never mentioned as Super Joe. A year later, there was another version of Bionic Commando released in Japan for the Nintendo Famicom called Top Secret, Hitler no Fukatsu, also known as Top Secret, Hitler's Revival, in which Super Joe is captured by Nazis and you play as Nathan Rad Spencer, a man with a bionic arm that is sent to take out all the Nazis and rescue Super Joe. The same game was released as Bionic Commando in the US for the NES, but all the Nazi and Hitler references were taken out of the game due to Nintendo of America's strict censorship policies. Wolf of the Battlefield 2, known as Mercs in the US, was released as an arcade sequel to Commando in 1990 and was also ported to the Sega Genesis in 1991. In this game there is 3 different characters to play as, one of them being Super Joe that goes by his surname Joseph Gibson. Other than Super Joe being in the game, there are no ties to Commando, and it really seems like a completely different series altogether. Years later, in 1999, Nintendo released Bionic Commando, Elite Forces, in which you once again have to rescue Super Joe. So after the big line of games that all have pretty much nothing to do with each other than the fact that Capcom ties Super Joe into all of them, we get Wolf of the Battlefield, Commando 3. Wolf of the Battlefield, Commando 3 was released as a PSN title on June 5th, 2008, and also as an Xbox Live title on June 11th, 2008. The first thing you get to do is choose which character you want to play as. And guess what? You don't get to play as Super Joe. How can there even be a Commando game without Super Joe? And what the hell happened to the 2 guys from Mercs? Instead we get some douche nozzle that looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, a cheap Rambo knockoff with facial hair, and a smoking hot black chick. At least when you start the game you get out of a helicopter just like in Commando and Mercs, and from there it is a basic run and gun style game. Although this game does have its good qualities, I think there were a lot of things that held this title back from being as epic as it could have been. The animation style was nothing like the previous games. Capcom gave this game more of a cartoony look, which I did not feel was true to the series. Then there was all the things that are just like Mercs but worse off. The weapons are the same but weaker and take longer to power up. And the flame shooter used to be a way badass gun that took out everything with a quickness, but now it's one of the weaker guns in the game. In order to kill anything with it, you had to keep on the guy, whereas in Mercs, it just instantly turned the dudes to dust. Vehicles are another example of what Mercs did right and what this game did wrong. In Mercs, the vehicles are easy to steer and you can pick up power-ups in them. But in Commando 3, the steering is way too sensitive, and you will drive like a drunk driver unless you keep a very steady position on the analog stick. And for some reason, they thought it would be a good idea to have a button to get out of the vehicles, but not a button to get into the vehicles. Just being able to jump in sounds good in theory, but in reality, it sucks since they made it so you cannot get power-ups while you're in your vehicle. You have to jump out and then get them, and if you move anywhere close to the vehicle, you'll automatically jump back in. I don't see why they could not have just made the same button to get in the vehicle as to get out. Capcom, please do the right thing and make a patch to fix these problems. The next annoyance was the story. Basically, after kicking the boss's ass on level 1, you get a call from the general that tells you to get ready to get the fuck out of there, but then the general tells you that the bad guys are surrounding you and that there is nothing they can do to help you and cuts transmission. So you're captured and you sit in a prison for 5 years, and for some reason the smoking hot black chick is in the same cell as the 2 dudes, which tells me they had some awesome orgies, and the whole situation would make for a great porn that could have a double entendre name like Commando doing it in the can. So then you're rescued and told that the enemy is an evil dictator that threatens nuclear war, but they might as well have just said that it's Osama bin Laden. I mean, come on, look at this dude, who the fuck else could it be? I would say the best part of having the story is the fact that you can skip over it. My biggest complaint about this game is the level bosses. Level 1 is a big tank, which is really easy to take out. Level 2 doesn't even have a boss. Then the level 3 boss is another big tank, which is exactly like the big tank from level 1, but it has flame shooters on it. Level 4 you just shoot the hell out of some things until you blow up the structure in the middle. And level 5 is the Bin Laden clone, and he proves to be the only challenging boss in the whole fucking game. So yeah, just like Capcom's 1942 Joint Strike, it only has 5 levels, which I thought was okay for the style of game. You might be thinking that there's nothing good about this game after all the stuff I just talked about, but there were some good points. For example, the gameplay is pretty damn awesome. There are slight hit detection errors here and there, but overall it's still fun to play. I think it is awesome that Capcom made it so you can play online with people. The few times that I did play online, I played with one other person and it was a fun experience. I would really like to play this game with 2 other people so I can enjoy the game to the fullest with all 3 characters on screen at once, but every time I tried to find other people online, I was never able to find anyone. And no matter how awesome the voice chat quality is on the online, it will make no difference if there's no one to play the game with. I think it's almost pointless to rate downloadable games since it basically comes down to the fact that these games are sold for a fraction of the price of new games that are not downloadable. I have to say that I was able to beat this game in the hardest setting without losing a guy after like the 3rd time playing it. I also beat it in the hardest mode with another person online. So to me that means I'm pretty much done with this game unless I find 2 other people to play online with, since that is the only mode of the game that I have not experienced yet. Now, the question is, do I think people should buy this game? If you're a hardcore fan of the Commando series, then you might be let down by this game. I was. But if you're not a hardcore fan of the series and just want a cheap, decent, run and gun style game, then $10 will be a good price for you. You've seen Princess Peach take on Mario and all the Nintendo characters in the Nintendo Gangbang 500.
Mario! Yeehaw! Luigi! Mario! Oh, Mamma Mia!
And you've seen Solid Snake, and Duke Nukem's Duke in Two Guys, One Cup.
Blow it out your ass. Diarrhea. Eat shit and die. Okay. Suck it down.
And now, Sinistermoon Productions presents Commando, doing it in the can. I like the girl, but I like the guy much better. Coming soon to better porno theaters near you.